what's up everybody? Tuesday, June 15th. Market pullback. Something may be up. I'll just put it that way. Something may be up. But if you want to know what's up, you got to go sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader. No, something may be up. And I've been talking about it. Some numbers came in today. All right, tomorrow we have the conclusion of the Fed meeting. Now it's going to be interesting, and I think it has potential to inject some volatility into the situation, because some people are saying that the Fed is going to come out and move up its timeline for a rate hike. In other words, bring that closer. I'm not so sure. I mean, I don't see anything in Fed fund futures predicting that. But, there have been statements by Fed officials, not Powell so much, but other FOMC officials have been talking about, hey, inflation, we're looking at that, giving a little hint. You had Yellen, of course, she's not on the Fed anymore, but she keeps, dropping these ridiculous comments about how the country will be better off with higher rates. I did a whole entire video on that, about how that's just a silly, nonsensical comment. All right, because, when you adjust rates, when you change rates, it's like inflation. I mean, when you change rates, somebody benefits, somebody loses, okay? Like inflation. Somebody benefits, somebody loses. You can't say as a nation, as a whole, we'd be better off with higher rates. I mean, it's just like a silly, ridiculous statement. Somebody benefits and somebody loses. And I don't understand why, the Treasury Secretary, who works at the pleasure of the president, this President Biden, who is of the belief that, hey, we got to go out and borrow the money, and it's great now because we can lock in a low rate, right? This is all nonsensical too, but that's what he thinks. That's how he thinks the whole thing works. If he's going out saying, hey, it's great, we could do all this big stuff now, like infrastructure, because there's low rates and we can borrow the money at low rates, we can lock it in. Why is his Treasury Secretary pushing for higher rates? So it doesn't make any sense. It's comical. It's comical. So anyway, if the Fed says anything about that, and there may be, I think there might be a risk that it could mention taper. Ooh. Now taper, of course, is not a rate hike. It is simply a cutback in the amount of assets the Fed is purchasing every month. Let's discuss this, because we know that the banks are struggling right now with this massive amount of reserves being piled on their books because of the Fed's $120 billion a month in asset purchases, and also because Treasury spending down its account and not issuing a sufficient quantity of bonds to absorb that spending, right? Because Yellen knows we're coming up to the debt ceiling. So, I mean, the whole thing is crazy, man. So it would be a good move if the Fed were to taper, because there's no reason for the Fed to be adding $120 billion a month in reserves when the banks are literally at the point now where they're having to turn away deposits, where they can't achieve, maximum loan growth, or at least, a higher level of loan growth. And the Fed has had to engage in special operations, for example, these reverse repo operations, which are just temporary drains on reserves, in order that the system can function. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. But what's even more ridiculous, I think that the Fed is deathly afraid to announce taper because it views its asset purchases as, stimulus, which again is ridiculous. And everybody out there views those asset purchases as stimulus, and the Fed is afraid to withdraw that supposed stimulus. You couldn't make this stuff up. I mean, if you were going to write a script for a movie or something like that, if you were to try to write a story about something so kind of twisted and misunderstood. Hang on. If you were to try to write a story that, contained a plot line that was so sort of twisted and laden with misinformation and misunderstanding and ignorance, I mean, you would never, you could get the most clever writer in the world. They would never be able to come up with this stuff. It's really crazy. But yet this is going on at the highest policy level that there is. They keep doing this stuff, and it's unbelievable. But that's the world we live in. But as I always say to you guys, it's great for me, it's great for us, because this creates opportunity like nothing else. It creates opportunity like nothing else. I just saw a thing today. Somebody sent me a thing today, and I posted it up on my blog, MikeNormanEconomics.blogspot.com, where this guy, Kyle Bass, I've done videos on this guy, complete idiot, Kyle Bass. He's one of these guys, years ago was saying that the Japanese yen is going to collapse because there's going to be a debt crisis in Japan. Then that didn't work out. Then the Chinese currency is going to collapse because there's a debt crisis in China. Another one of these guys has a completely wrong understanding. I mean, wrong understanding about how the monetary system works. Somebody sent me something today. It's from a website that they put out the performance of hedge funds. This guy has lost since 2013. Kyle Bass, his hedge fund is down 46%. I mean, if it's still even in business. In that period of time, from 2013 until now, the S&P is up like 300%. The average hedge fund is up like half of that, 150%, which shows you that hedge funds, they're terrible. They can't even match the performance of the S&P, but that's not the point. The point I'm saying is this guy Bass lost half his money in the last 8 years. Half the money that he was managing. I'm sure he's out of business, although I saw him, again, they posted him up, something he said today on Zero Hedge. But it's not surprising, because when you are so wrong, what is that saying? A fool and his money are always parted. When you see stuff like this, and also when you see stuff at the policy level, it is a gift to you. It is a gift to you, unless you're of that mentality and you want to stick to that wrong mentality. That's up to you, But if you're in this to be a clever, savvy, opportunistic investor, if you're in this to learn, to grow, to gain knowledge, to lift yourself up to a higher level, to gain understanding, insight, right? I mean, those are things, I try to achieve. We try to better ourselves, and those are some great ways to better yourself, through better understanding, more knowledge, more insight, right? Search for truth, reality. To me, it's like a gift. I mean, they're handing it to you. So anyway, we got the Fed thing tomorrow. We're going to see what they do. I mean, it's going to inject some volatility. If they stick with the program that they are now, you're going to have all these crazy inflationistas going, hyperinflation and stuff. That's going to set up an opportunity there. If they say, hey, we're moving up our timeline for a rate hike, that's going to put some things in motion there. But we got to wait. Like I always say, they tell you what they're going to do. And then we strategize. Anyway, I talk a little bit about this on my podcast, which I'll be posting up tomorrow. In the meantime, go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com. Sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader. See you tomorrow. Bye.